the evidence. So explain to me how then evidence is being leaked the week that Hunter Biden is getting indicted or misdemeanor charges for things that he should have been going to jail for, let's be honest. And if it was a Trumper, would have gone to jail for. But nobody talks about that. What do they want to talk about? Trump, 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 submarine. Oh, I know. Release a tape. Release a tape saying what? That the Presidential Records Act allows a president to declassify documents. He is the only person that has the power to single-handedly do that. That's what the tape says.
So is it the position of the president that when he was having that conversation, the information that he was talking about was already declassified, or was it what he told Brett Baird that it was a news article there, or is it either or is it both?
I don't know, and here's what I do know. The clip they put out doesn't answer that question. All it says is President Trump said, hi, look, if I was president, I can declassify a classified document. And when you're not president, you can't. Only the president can do that. What does that say? Well, it says exactly what dual system of justice we're living in.
While Donald Trump may have dispelled the notion that you need to be some kind of a genius to become president, Alina Habba is dispelling the notion that you need to be smart to be an attorney. I mean, my God, if she had any self-awareness, she might actually be embarrassed. Here, Alina Habba is asked a simple question about the bombshell audio recording against Trump. Which defense is it? Is it that the documents that Trump was shuffling through the recording were already declassified? Or is it that there were no classified documents there whatsoever? Or is it something else? To which Habba says that she doesn't know and that the clip doesn't answer that question. Only, small problem, it absolutely does. I know that the Trump team gets off by treating their supporters like they're idiots, but here's the actual clip so you can hear it for yourself.
Well, with Milley, let me see that. I'll show you an example. He said that I wanted to attack Iran. Isn't it amazing? I have a big pile of papers. This thing just came up. Look. This was him. They presented me this. This is off the record, but they presented me this. This was him. This was the Defense Department and him. Wow. We looked at him. This was him. This wasn't done by me. This was him. All sorts of stuff. It's pages long. Look. Wait a minute. Let's see here. Look at that.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know. Except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. But look at this. You attack, and
Hillary would print that out all the time, you know.
she'd send it, no, she'd send it to Anthony Weiner, the pervert.
Please print.
By the way, isn't that incredible?
Yeah.
I was just saying, because we were talking about it, and you know, he said he wanted to attack Iran and what? These are the papers. This was done by the military, given to me. I think we can probably, right?
I don't know. We'll have to see. Yeah, we'll have to try to
Declassify.
figure out a yeah.
See, as president, I could have declassified
Yeah.
it. Now I can't, you know, but this is
Yeah,
classified.
now we have a problem.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Yeah, not too vague there. Donald Trump quite literally said the words highly confidential and secret and said, quote, as president, I could have declassified it, now I can't. And look, you don't have to have an English degree to understand that when someone says, I could have declassified it, now I can't, what that means is that it is still classified. And the reason that Alina Habba has to dissemble and deflect and obfuscate is because she clearly knows that, but is in the impossible position of having to defend a criminal so ham-handed that he decided to quite literally narrate his crimes. And then, of course, she pivots to the conspiracy theories, that this is all some grand conspiracy against Donald Trump. And the media is so in the pocket of the Biden administration that rather than talk about Hunter Biden this past week, they all pivoted to the submarine. Yup. Got us. We sent a submarine to the bottom of the ocean knowing full well that it would implode because we were that desperate to protect Hunter Biden, who, by the way, is a private citizen that accepted a plea deal for the crime of the century that was failing to pay his taxes in a timely manner. Yup, we're finally found out. She'd then go on to say this.
They're desperate. So what are they going to do? They're going to taint the jury pool. They're going to taint the American public's perception and try and say, look, here's a tape. Here's a tape of saying what? A president can declassify documents. I'm no longer a president. I can't declassify documents now.
But what to the people that say he says on the tape that he can't declassify it? It's his top
Correct.
secret and he can't declassify it.
He wasn't president at the time of the tape. He couldn't declassify. He knew that. But he wasn't saying it wasn't declassified. He was saying presidents can declassify. As a non-president, you can't. That has nothing to do with it. It's a red herring. It's exactly what they're doing. They take cuts and pieces, just like the indictment. They put it together and they make the American people believe the story, like La La Land, that they create. It's not in fact. There is no two sides. It's just one side, and it's pieces.
I don't know where else this would have come from.
Well,
where else would it have? I don't know.
It couldn't have come from
the
anyone.
reporter that recorded it. I don't know.
It wasn't. It's impossible. The reporter wouldn't have. As you heard in the reporting, they said off the record. He said off the record. They wouldn't do that. There has to be some evidence that came from the DOJ. Why? Because they're losing. They're losing in the polls. They're losing in the media, and they're losing this case. That's what happens.
Now, I think I'm starting to understand the tortured excuse being put forward by the Trump team. They're making it seem like Trump, extremely innocently, was just explaining the concept that former presidents cannot declassify documents. Like he was just making a declarative sentence, as if he was simply informing the people he was sitting with like some kind of a professor. And surely, a president can't be indicted for simply relaying accurate information. But what Alina Habba ignores is that he wasn't just explaining that a former president can't declassify documents in a vacuum. He was explaining that in the context of him being in possession of still classified documents. That was the problem. He was holding the documents that he was quite literally explaining were still classified. And again, don't take it from me, Donald Trump quite literally narrated the entire thing.
Yeah.
I just found, isn't that amazing? This totally wins my case, you know. Except it is like highly confidential, secret. This is secret information. But look at this. You attack.
So Alina Habba can pretend that Trump was innocently just saying words, but if you have half a brain, it is beyond simple to see what he was doing. He was flaunting stolen classified documents while narrating that he was flaunting stolen classified documents. And the fact that Habba is still trying to convince everyone otherwise goes to show just how stupid the Trump team believes their supporters are. She then goes on to claim that the DOJ leaked the audio recording because it would be, quote, impossible that the reporter could leak it, what with the words off the record having been uttered. And as we all know, once someone utters those words, a magic force field appears that physically blocks any transmission of those off the record remarks or recordings. Tell you what, it really is something that, on one hand, she has so much blind faith in the system that she thinks saying the words off the record is some magic unbreakable contract, and yet, on the other hand, she has so little faith that she thinks every single agency and person and country out there is out there to get Donald Trump. I'd ask which one it is, but I realize the answer is just whatever's most convenient for Donald Trump's narrative. She then goes on to say that the reason the DOJ supposedly leaked the recording is because, quote, they're losing, which is certainly a strange thing to say when the agency just levied 37 charges against your client. And when those charges are so valid that even Trump's own former attorney general said this.
What about this chief argument that comes up for the president's allies and his legal team that this should have been handled under the Presidential Records Act, not this Espionage Act charge and other federal statutes that were used here?
Well, it started out under the Presidential Records Act and the archives trying to retrieve documents that Trump had no right to have. But it quickly became clear that what the government was really worried about were these classified and very sensitive documents. I was shocked by the degree of sensitivity of these documents and how many there were, frankly. And so the government's agenda was to get those, protect those documents and get them out. And I think it was perfectly appropriate to do that. It was the right thing to do. And I think the counts under the Espionage Act that he willfully retained those documents are solid counts. Now, I do think we have to wait and see what the defense says and what proves to be true. But I do think that even half what Andy McCarthy said, which is if even half of it is true, then he's toast. I mean, it's a very detailed indictment, and it's very, very damning.
So yeah, when it comes to whether or not the DOJ is, quote, losing, I'll just say that it's not the DOJ out there doing desperate PR on TV. Before you go, I need some help. Please subscribe to the channel and do your part to help grow the progressive media ecosystem. I don't do sponsorships or paid ads, I won't ask for money, but just subscribing to this channel goes a really long way, and it helps get the message out to more people. The subscribe button is right here on the screen. You can also subscribe to my Spanish language channel, which I made to reach those crucial Spanish-speaking voters. That link is on the screen too. And finally, if you want to listen to my audio podcast, you can follow that link as well. Thanks so much for watching.